Jake Miller wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished adjusting the power coupling in the engine room. The hum of the Starbound's engines filled the air around him, a sound he had grown to love over the past 3 years. He was good at his job, and the ship ran smoothly because of engineers like him. The corridor outside the engine room was quiet. Most of the crew was either sleeping or working their shifts in other parts of the ship. Jake preferred the quiet. At times, it let him think while he worked. He was checking his tools when he heard small footsteps behind him. Jake turned around and nearly dropped his wrench. A tiny alien stood in the doorway, barely reaching his chest. Her skin was a soft blue color, like the sky on Earth just before sunrise. Her eyes were large and violet, taking up much of her delicate face. She wore simple clothes that looked like they were made from some kind of shimmering fabric. "Hello," she said in perfect English, her voice musical and light. "You are Jake Miller, correct?" Jake blinked. He had seen many alien species since joining the crew, but he had never seen one like her. "Yes, that's me. Who are you?" The small alien smiled, showing white teeth. "My name is Zara. I am from the Kalani people. I have wonderful news for you." Jake Miller. "Okay," Jake said slowly. He set down his tools and wiped his hands on his work shirt. "What kind of news?" Zara's smile grew wider. "You have been matched with a wife, and that wife is me." She said this as if she was telling him about the weather. Jake stared at her. "I'm sorry, what? You've been matched with a wife?" Zara repeated patiently. "The Galactic matching protocol has determined that we are perfect partners. I am very excited to meet you." Wait. Jake held up his hands. "What is the Galactic matching protocol?" "What do you mean we're matched?" Zara tilted her head, her large eyes studying his face. "Oh, you do not know about the protocol. That is fine. We'll explain." She clasped her small hands together. "My people have spent many years studying how different beings can be compatible. We have created a system that can find perfect matches between any two beings in the galaxy." Jake felt like the floor was moving under his feet, and the system says we're matched. "Yes, we are a 99.7% compatibility match. This is very rare and very special." Zara's eyes sparkled with joy. "I've been searching for you for a long time, Jake Miller." "I need to sit down," Jake muttered. He found a nearby crate and sat heavily on it. "This is crazy. I don't even know you." "That is normal," Zara said kindly. "Most matched pairs do not know each other at first." Waiting to grow, Jake rubbed his temples. "How do you even know about me? How does this matching thing work?" Zara moved closer, her movements graceful and quiet. "The protocol studies many things. How you think, how you feel, what you like, what you need. It looks at your genetic patterns, your brain chemistry, even your dreams. All of this information creates a profile." "You've studied my dreams?" Jake's voice cracked. "Not personally," Zara said quickly. "The protocol does this automatically, but is not invasive. Think of it like a very advanced computer that can understand what makes people happy together." Jake stood up and began pacing. "This is insane. You can't just show up and tell someone they're married to you. It's not how it works." "I understand your confusion," Zara said, following him with her eyes. "But I have not said we are married. I said we are matched. There is a difference." "What's the difference?" "A match means we have the potential to be perfect partners. Marriage, or life bonding, as my people call it, comes later. Only if both beings choose it." Jake stopped pacing. "So I have a choice?" "Of course you have a choice," Zara said, looking surprised. "The protocol never forces anyone. It only shows possibilities." Before Jake could respond, the ship's communication system crackled to life. "Jake Miller to the bridge immediately." "Jake Miller to the bridge." "Oh." Jake looked at Zara, then at the comm unit. "That's the captain. She probably wants to know why there's an unknown alien in the engine room." "Unknown alien?" Zara looked hurt. "I am not unknown. I am part of the Kalani delegation that came aboard your ship this morning." Jake's eyes widened. "There's a delegation? How many of you are there?" 12 of us came to meet with your captain. I asked permission to find you as soon as we arrived." "Miller, report to the bridge now," the communication system repeated more urgently this time. "I have to go," Jake said. The captain sounds angry. May I come with you? Zara asked. I should probably explain the situation to your leaders. Jake looked at her small, hopeful face. Part of him wanted to run away and hide in the deepest part of the ship, but another part of him was curious. How could this tiny alien claim to know him so well? Fine, he said, but let me do the talking at first. Zara nodded eagerly. Of course. You know your people better than I do. As they walked toward the bridge, Jake's mind raced with questions. How long had this matching system been studying him? Why had no one told the crew about it? And most importantly, what was he supposed to do with a wife he had never met? He glanced down at Zara, who was walking beside him with a spring in her step. She seemed genuinely happy, as if meeting him was the best thing that had ever happened. To her, Jake found this both touching and terrifying. Zara, he said, as they reached the elevator to the bridge. Yes, Jake Miller. Just Jake is fine. Can you tell me one thing? Anything. Why do you seem so sure about this? About us? Zara smiled up at him as the elevator doors opened. Because I have been waiting my whole life to meet the person who would understand me completely, and now I have. Jake swallowed hard as they stepped into the elevator. Something told him his quiet life aboard the Starbound was about to become very complicated. The elevator doors opened with a soft hiss, and Jake stepped onto the bridge with Zara beside him. Captain Lisa Rogers stood near the main view screen, her arms crossed and her expression stern. 3 other Kalani stood nearby, all similar in size to Zara, but with different colored skin ranging from pale green to deep purple.
Oh, Miller.
Captain Rogers said without turning around. Care to explain why you left your post to escort our guests around the ship? Captain, I can explain, Jake began, but Zara stepped forward. Captain Rogers, my name is Zara, of the Kalani delegation. I requested to meet with Jake Miller immediately upon our arrival. The responsibility is mine, not his. Captain Rogers turned. To face them, her eyebrows raised. And why was it so urgent to meet our engineer? Zara smiled brightly. Because he is my matched partner according to the Galactic matching protocol. We are going to be life partners. The bridge fell silent. Jake watched as every human crew member turned to stare at him. Pete Jackson, who was manning the communications station, nearly choked on his coffee. You're what now? Captain Rogers asked. Slowly, one of the other Kalani, an elderly male with deep purple skin, stepped forward. Captain, perhaps I should explain. I am Elder Keth, leader of this delegation. We came here to discuss trade agreements, but we also discovered something remarkable in our databases. What kind of remarkable? Dr. Amy Chen asked from her station. She was the ship's scientist and always curious about new discoveries. Elder Keth gestured toward Jake and Zara. Our matching protocol identified a perfect compatibility match between one of our people and one of yours. This has never happened before with humans. Captain Rogers rubbed her forehead. You have some kind of computer program that decides who should marry whom. It is much more complex than a simple computer program, Elder Keth explained. Protocol has been refined over thousands of years. It studies biological compatibility, psychological harmony, emotional resonance, and many other factors. And it says Jake and this young lady are perfect for each other? Captain Rogers looked between Jake and Zara. The compatibility rating is 99.7%, Zara said proudly. This is the highest rating ever recorded between 2 different species. Pete Jackson laughed from his station. Jake, buddy, you've got yourself a cosmic arranged marriage. It's not arranged, Jake protested, his face turning red. I didn't arrange anything. Why, technically, the protocol arranged it, Zara said helpfully. Dr. Chen leaned forward in her chair. This is fascinating. How does your matching system work? Exactly. Elder Keth's eyes lit up. We gathered data through many methods: sleep patterns, stress responses, decision-making processes, creative thinking, emotional reactions to various stimuli. The protocol creates a complete psychological and biological profile. You've been watching Jake sleep? Pete asked, grinning. Not watching, Elder Keth said. Monitoring? The protocol has sensors throughout this sector of space. It has been gathering data on all ships that pass through. Captain Rogers held up her hand. Wait a minute, you've been spying on us? Not spying, another Kalani spoke up. This one had pale green skin and spoke with a gentle voice. I am Healer, Nira. The protocol does not invade privacy. It only reads energy patterns and biological signals. Think of it like checking someone's pulse, but from a distance. And these energy patterns told you that Jake and Zara should be together? Dr. Chen asked. Among other things, yes, Healer Nira nodded, but the match is not just about compatibility. There's also the matter of necessity. Jake felt his stomach drop. What do you mean, necessity? Zara's happy expression faltered for the first time. She looked down at her hands. My people are dying, Jake. We have a genetic problem that has made it hard for us to have children. Without new genetic material, we will disappear in a few generations. So this is about survival, Jake said, feeling suddenly cold. No, Zara said quickly, looking up at him with urgent eyes. The match is real. The protocol does not lie about compatibility just for survival. If we were not truly suited for each other, it would not have made the match. Elder Keth nodded. The protocol has rejected thousands of potential matches for our people. Suggests partnerships that have genuine potential for happiness and success. Dr. Chen stood up from her station. I'd like to study this protocol of yours. The technology sounds incredibly advanced. We would be happy to share our research, Elder Keth said. But first, we must address the immediate situation. Zara has found her match, and according to our laws, she must remain near him while he decides. Decides what? Captain Rogers asked. Whether to accept the life bond, Zara said softly. If Jake chooses to bond with me, we will be connected for life. If he chooses not to, I must return to my people and never see him again. Jake felt like he was being crushed by the weight of the decision. How long do I have to decide? There's no time limit, Elder Keth said. But Zara cannot return to her normal life until you choose. She is bound by the match until it is resolved. That's not fair to her, Jake protested. Zara smiled at him. It is my choice to be here, Jake. When the protocol told me about you, I studied everything it had learned. Your kindness, your intelligence, your dedication to helping others. I chose to come find you. Pete Jackson shook his head. This is like something out of a old Earth movie. What happens if Jake says no? Dr. Chen asked. What happens to Zara then? She will be given other potential matches, Elder Keth said, but none as compatible as this one. Jake looked at Zara, who was watching him with hopeful eyes. He barely knew her, but something about her made him want to learn more. The way she spoke about him, like she had known him for years, was both unsettling and intriguing. I need time to think, Jake said finally. Of course, Zara said. We'll wait as long as you need. Captain Rogers cleared her throat. Well, this is certainly not what I expected when I woke up this morning. Elder Keth, I assume your people will be staying aboard while this gets sorted out, if that is acceptable. We have much to discuss regarding trade agreements as well. Fine, Dr. Chen. I want you to work with their scientists to understand this protocol. Miller, take some time off from your regular duties. You have some thinking to do. As the meeting broke up, Jake found himself walking beside Zara toward the guest quarters. She was quiet now, not chattering as she had before. Zara, he said finally, are you really okay with waiting while I figure this out? She looked up at him and smiled. Jake, I've been looking for you my whole life. A little more waiting will not hurt me. Jake stopped walking. How can you be so sure about someone you just met? Zara stopped too and turned to face him fully. Because I know you, Jake Miller. I know you fix things that are broken. I know you stay late to help your friends. I know you dream about exploring new worlds and helping people build better lives. The protocol did not just match our genetics. It matched our hearts. Jake stared at her, feeling something shift inside his chest. Maybe she was right. Maybe she did know him better than he thought. Come on, he said. Let me show you around the ship. If you're going to be here for a while, you should know your way around. Zara's face lit up with joy. I would love that. They walked down the corridor together. Jake wondered if this strange situation might actually turn into something wonderful. Only time would tell. Jake spent the next 3 days showing Zara around the Starbound. She was curious about everything, asking questions that made him think about his work in new ways. When he explained how the life support systems worked, she nodded and suggested improvements based on how her people managed air circulation on their ships. Your system is good, she said, as they stood in the environmental control room, but it works too hard. On Kalani ships, we use living plants that clean the air naturally. They need less energy and smell better too. Jake looked at the massive machines humming around them. Living plants? In space? Yes, we grow special plants that love recycled air. They eat the bad chemicals and give back clean oxygen. Much simpler than these big machines. That's actually brilliant, Jake said. He had never thought about using biology instead of technology to solve engineering problems. Zara smiled. My people learned long ago that nature usually has better answers than machines. As the days passed, Jake found himself looking forward to their conversations. Zara had a way of looking at problems that was completely different from his human training. When he showed her the ship's power distribution system, she immediately spotted a bottleneck that had been causing minor efficiency problems for months. Here, she said, pointing to a junction box. The energy flow is fighting itself, like trying to pour water through a bent straw. Jake studied the readouts. You're right. How did you see that so quickly? Kalani children learn to read energy patterns before they learn to read words. It is how we survive on ships that travel between stars for years at a time. That evening, Jake was in the mess hall with Pete Jackson and Linda Santos, the communications officer. Pete was making jokes about Jake's alien girlfriend, but Linda seemed more interested in the bigger picture. Have you learned anything about their culture? Linda asked. The captain wants a full report for the Galactic Council, a little Jake said. They're not like any other species we've met. Everything they do is based on cooperation and understanding. They don't seem to have wars or conflicts. That's hard to believe, Pete said. Every species we've encountered has some kind of fighting in their history. Zara says her people learned early that fighting uses too much energy when you're traveling. In space, they had to develop better ways to solve problems. Smart, Linda said. What else have you learned? Jake thought about his conversations with Zara. They see relationships differently than we do. For humans, love usually starts with attraction and grows into understanding. For the Kalani, it starts with understanding and grows into something deeper. What kind of deeper? Pete asked with a grin. Not what you're thinking, Jake said, his face turning red. Zara explained that Kalani partnerships are about minds connecting first. They share thoughts and feelings in ways we can't. Linda leaned forward. Telepathy? Not exactly. More like emotional awareness. She can tell when I'm frustrated or confused, even when I try to hide it. That sounds useful, Linda said, and kind of scary. Jake nodded. That's what I thought at first, but it's actually comforting. She doesn't judge me for feeling things. She just accepts it and tries to help. The next day, the ship's navigation system started acting up. Jake was in the control room with Chief Engineer Tony Martinez, trying to figure out what was wrong. The readings kept jumping around, and none of their usual fixes were working. This makes no sense, Tony muttered. Everything looks normal, but the system keeps giving us wrong coordinates. Jake stared at the displays, feeling frustrated. They had been working on this for hours with no progress. Maybe we should run a full diagnostic. That'll take 8 hours, Tony said. The captain wants this fixed now. We're supposed to reach the trading station tomorrow. Zara appeared in the doorway. May I help? Tony looked at Jake, who shrugged. Sure, maybe you can see something we're missing. To the main console and placed her small hands on the surface. She closed her eyes and stood very still for several minutes. Jake watched her face, which was peaceful and concentrated. There, she said finally, opening her eyes and pointing to a specific panel. The problem is not in the navigation system. It is in the power coupling 3 levels below us. The energy flow is unstable, which makes the navigation computer think the ship is moving when it is not. Tony and Jake looked at each other. How could you possibly know that? Tony asked. I can feel the ship's energy patterns, Zara explained. The disruption feels like it's like a person with a hurt leg trying to walk normally. The whole body adjusts to compensate. Jake grabbed his tools. Let's check it out. They went down to the power coupling Zara had identified. Sure enough, there was a loose connection that was causing power fluctuations. It would have taken them days to find it using normal diagnostic procedures. Incredible, Tony said as Jake tightened the connection. How did you sense that from 3 decks away? All Kalani can do this, Zara said. We have to be able to feel our ships like they are part of our bodies. Space is dangerous and machines break if we cannot sense problems. Before they become serious, we die. After they fixed the problem, Tony shook Zara's hand. You just saved us a lot of time and trouble. Thank you. When they were alone, Jake turned to Zara. That was amazing. What else can you do that you haven't told me about? Zara looked embarrassed. Many things. I did not want you to think I am trying to show off. I don't think that. I think you're incredible. She smiled shyly. You are incredible too, Jake. The way you understand how things work, how you care about fixing problems and helping people. That is why the protocol matched us. Jake felt something warm in his chest. Zara, can I ask you something personal? Of course, when you first saw me, what did you think? Zara considered this carefully. I thought you looked tired, like you had been working very hard for a long time, but also kind. Your eyes are kind, Jake, and when you smiled at me, even though you were confused, I knew the protocol was right. What do you mean? The protocol told me we were compatible, but I had to see for myself. Some people smile with only their mouth. You smile with your whole face. That told me you were someone who could be happy even in strange situations. Jake looked at her small, earnest face. What happens if we do this life bond thing? What would it actually be like? We would share our life energy, Zara said. I would live as long as you do, and you would live as long as I do. We would always be able to find each other, no matter how far apart we are. And we would understand each other's feelings without words. That sounds overwhelming. It does not happen all at once, Zara assured him. It grows slowly, like a plant. First trust, then friendship, then understanding, then love. Jake thought about the past few days. He was already beginning to trust her. Her friendship felt natural and easy. He was definitely starting to understand her in ways that surprised him. Zara, he said finally, I'm starting to think the protocol might be right about us. Her face lit up with hope. Really? Really? I don't know what I want to do yet, but I'm not afraid of finding out anymore. Zara reached out and took his hand. Her skin was warm and soft. Dad, that is all I could hope for, Jake. We have time to discover what we could be together. Jake squeezed her hand gently. For the first time since this whole strange situation began, he felt like maybe it could actually work. 2 weeks had passed since Zara first appeared in Jake's life. The Starbound was now traveling toward a research station where they would drop off some scientific samples. Jake found himself spending most of his free time with Zara, and their friendship had grown stronger each day. She had started teaching him meditation techniques that her people used during long space flights. At first, Jake thought it was silly to sit quietly and breathe slowly, but he discovered it actually helped him think more clearly about complex engineering problems. Close your eyes, Zara said as they sat in the observation lounge, looking out at the stars. Feel the ship moving around you. Feel your heartbeat. Feel the air going in and out of your lungs. Jake tried to follow her instructions. I feel like I'm wasting time. I could be working on the engine upgrades. The engines will still be there in 20 minutes. Zara said gently. But your mind needs rest too. A tired mind makes mistakes. Jake had to admit she was right. Yesterday, he had spent 3 hours trying to solve a problem that should have taken 30 minutes. His brain had been too busy and scattered to think straight. Now, Zara continued, think about something that makes you happy. Jake thought about the first time he had seen a star engine work. He had been just a kid visiting a space dock with his father. The pure energy of the engine had seemed like magic. I can feel your happiness, Zara said softly. It feels warm, like sunlight. Jake opened his eyes and looked at her. You can really feel what I'm feeling, and you are not trying to hide it, yes? Right now you feel peaceful and a little curious. That's exactly right. Jake studied her face. What do I feel like when I'm working on engines? Zara smiled. Like a child playing with favorite toys. Excited and focused and completely happy. It is beautiful to sense. This was what Jake was beginning to love about Zara. She saw good things in him that he never noticed about himself. When he got frustrated with difficult problems, she would remind him that his frustration came from caring so much about doing. Good work, Jake, she said. May I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever get lonely, even when you are surrounded by your friends? Jake considered this. Sometimes. Why? I have felt lonely my whole life, even with my family and friends around me. But when I'm with you, that feeling goes away completely. Out. Jake felt his chest tighten. Zara, I need to tell you something. I'm starting to feel things for you that I didn't expect. What kind of things? I look forward to seeing you every day. When you're not around, I find myself thinking about things I want to tell you or show you. And when you smile at me, it makes me happy in a way I can't explain. Zara's eyes grew bright. Those are the feelings the protocol predicted you would have. But they are not fake feelings, Jake. They are real feelings that were always inside you, waiting for the right person to bring them out. That afternoon, Jake got sick. It started as a headache during his shift, but by evening he was running. A fever and could barely stand up. Dr. Amy Chen examined him in the medical bay, while Zara waited outside, looking worried. It's that space virus that's been going around the outer colonies, Dr. Chen said. We have medicine for it, but it's going to be rough for a few days. You need to stay in bed and rest. Jake felt terrible. His whole body ached, and his head felt like it was full of thick fog. How long will this last? Usually about a week? The fever should break in 3 or 4 days. Zara appeared in the doorway. May I help take care of him? Dr. Chen looked surprised. Do you know anything about human medicine? Some. But more importantly, I know about healing energy. My people have ways to help the body fight sickness. I don't know about that, Dr. Chen said carefully. Please, Jake said weakly. Let her try. I trust her. Tur agreed to let Zara stay, but only if she promised to call for help, if Jake got worse. Zara moved a chair next to Jake's bed and sat down. What are you going to do? Jake asked. Share my energy with you. It will not cure the virus, but it will help your body stay strong while it fights. Zara placed her small hands on Jake's forehead. Almost immediately, he felt a warm, soothing sensation spread through his body. Pain in his head eased, and his breathing became easier. How are you doing that? He whispered. All living things have energy, Zara explained. When someone is sick, their energy gets weak and scattered. I am helping to focus your energy so it can work better. For the next 4 days, Zara barely left his side. She brought him water and soup, helped Dr. Chen monitor his condition, and used her healing techniques to keep him comfortable. She even slept in the chair next to his bed, waking up whenever he had nightmares from the fever. On the 4th night, Jake's fever finally broke. He woke up feeling weak, but clear-headed for the first time in days. Zara was asleep in her chair, her head resting on the edge of his bed. She looked exhausted. Zara, he said softly. She woke up immediately. Jake, how do you feel? Better, much better. But you look terrible. When was the last time you ate? Zara rubbed her eyes. I am fine. You were very sick. I was worried.
Doctor.
Chen came in to check on Jake and was amazed by his recovery. This should have taken at least 2 more days. Whatever your friend is doing, it's working. After Dr. Chen left, Jake took Zara's hand. Why did you do all this for me? Because I care about you, she said simply. When you hurt, I hurt. When you are sick, I want to help you feel better. This is what it means to be matched, Jake. We are connected even before the life bond. Jake felt something shift deep in his heart. Zara, I think I'm falling in love with you. Tears filled her violet eyes. I have been in love with you since the moment I saw you, Jake Miller. But I wanted you to discover your feelings naturally. Is this what the protocol predicted would happen? The protocol predicted compatibility, Zara said. But love cannot be predicted. Love is something we choose to create together. Jake pulled her hand to his lips and kissed it gently. Thank you for taking care of me. No one has ever done that before. I will always take care of you if you let me. Jake looked into her eyes and saw his future there. It's not just compatibility or convenience, but real love and partnership. Zara, I want to learn more about this life bond. I want to know what it would really mean for us. Zara's face glowed with happiness. Are you sure? I'm sure that I want to find out. I'm sure that what I feel for you is real. I'm sure that I don't want to imagine my life without you in it. Zara leaned forward and kissed his forehead softly. Then we will learn together, Jake. We will take as much time as you need. As Jake drifted off to sleep, still holding her hand, he realized that being sick had shown him something important. Zara had not taken care of him because she was supposed to, or because the protocol told her to. She had done it because she loved him. And love made people want to help each other. For the first time since this whole adventure began, Jake felt completely certain about something. Whatever happened next, he wanted Zara to be part of his life. 3 weeks later, the Starbound arrived at Gateway Station, a massive structure that served as a meeting place for dozens of different species. The station was home to the Galactic Council, where representatives from across the galaxy made important decisions about trade, peace, cooperation between worlds. Jake stood at the observation window, watching the station grow larger as they approached. It looked like a small city floating in space, with ships from many different worlds docked. At its ports, somewhere in that station, he would have to make the most important decision of his life. It is beautiful, Zara said, joining him at the window. I have never seen so many different ships in one place, Zara, Jake said, turning to face her. Once we dock, I'll have to give the council an official answer about the life bond. Are you ready for that? Zara nodded, but Jake could see worry in her violet eyes. I am ready for whatever you decide, Jake, even if you choose to say no. Jake took her hand. Over the past month, this had become natural for both of them. I won't say no. But I need to understand exactly what I'm agreeing to, Elder Keth said. The bond would change my biology. I need to know what that means. 2 hours after docking, Jake found himself in a conference room with Captain Rogers, Elder Keth, and several council representatives. One of them was his sister Kate, who had traveled from Earth to be there for his decision. Jake, Kate said, hugging him tightly. I came as soon as I got the message. This is incredible. Kate was a diplomatic expert who specialized in first contact situations. She had been working with alien species for years, but even she seemed amazed by the situation. Tell me about Zara, Kate said as they sat down. Do you really love her, or do you just think you do because of this matching system? Jake had been asking himself the same question. At first I thought maybe the protocol was somehow making me feel things that weren't real. But the more time I spend with her, the more sure I am that what I feel is genuine. What do you love about her? Jake smiled. She sees the world differently than anyone I've ever met. She's incredibly smart, but never makes me feel stupid. She's patient when I'm frustrated, and she makes me want to be a better person. When I'm with her, I feel like the best version of myself. Kate studied his face. That sounds like real love to me. But Jake, you need to understand what you're choosing. According to Elder Keth, this bond will connect your life force to hers. You'll live as long as she does, which could be several hundred years. I know, Jake said. Elder Keth explained it to me. You'll be psychically connected. You'll always know what she's feeling, and she'll always know what you're feeling. Some people would find that overwhelming. Jake thought about the past month. Zara already seemed to know his moods and feelings better than he did sometimes. Think I'd like that, actually. Would mean never being lonely. Kate leaned back in her chair. What about children? Have you talked about that a little? Zara says. The life bond would make it possible for us to have children together, even though we're different species. The council's scientists want to study how that would work. And you're okay with your children being part human and part Kalani? Jake had thought about this a lot. Kate, look around this station. There are dozens of different species here, all working together. Maybe having children who are part of both worlds would be a good thing. They could help build bridges between our peoples. Elder Keth joined their conversation. Jake Miller, have you made your decision? Almost. I have one more question. Happens to Zara if I say no? Really? Elder Keth looked sad. She would return to our homeworld. The protocol would find her other potential matches, but none as compatible as you. She would probably live a good life, but not the perfect life. She could have with you. And what happens to me if I say yes? What if I change my mind later? The life bond cannot be broken once it is completed, Elder Keth said seriously. This is why the decision must be made carefully. But Jake Miller, in all the centuries we have been using the protocol, no bonded pair has ever wanted to break their connection. The bond grows stronger over time, not weaker. Jake looked around the room at all the faces watching him. Captain Rogers looked supportive but worried. Kate looked concerned but hopeful. Elder Keth looked patient and understanding. I want to talk to Zara one more time, Jake said. Alone. 20 minutes later, Jake and Zara were walking through the station's garden area, a huge space filled with plants from dozens of different worlds. The air smelled like flowers and growing things, and the sound of water fountains created a peaceful atmosphere. Zara, Jake said, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Always, she said. If there was no genetic crisis with your people, if your species wasn't in danger, would you still want to bond with me? Zara stopped walking and turned to face him. Jake, do you think I am only interested in you because my people need new genetic material? I don't know, that's why I'm asking. Zara was quiet for a long moment. When I first learned about the match, I was excited because it meant hope for my people. But Jake, I could have chosen any of the other potential matches the protocol found. There were 3 others with compatibility ratings above 90%. Why didn't you? Because when I studied their profiles, I felt nothing. But when I studied your profile, I felt like I had found something I had been looking for my whole life. Not just a compatible partner, but someone I could truly love. Jake felt the last of his doubts disappear. Zara, there's something I need to tell you. What is it? I love you. Not because a computer program says we're compatible. Not because you need genetic material to save your species, but because you're the most amazing person I've ever met. You make me happy in ways I didn't know were possible. Tears filled Zara's eyes. Jake, are you saying what I think you are saying? I'm saying yes. I want the life bond. I want to spend my life with you, however long that life might be. Zara threw her arms around him, and Jake lifted her off the ground, spinning her around. When he set her down, she was laughing and crying at the same time. Are you sure? She asked. Once we do this, there is no going back. Jake cupped her face in his hands. Zara, I have never been more sure of anything in my life. You are my future, and you are mine, she whispered. They walked back to the conference room hand in hand, ready to tell the council their decision. Jake felt nervous but excited. He was about to start the biggest adventure of his life, and he couldn't imagine a better partner to share it with than Zara. As they reached the door to the conference room, Zara squeezed his hand. Are you ready, Jake Miller? I'm ready for anything, as long as you're with me. Together, they walked through the door to begin their new life. The bonding ceremony took place in the council chamber 3 days later. Jake had never seen such a beautiful room. The walls were made of crystal that caught and reflected light from dozens of different suns, creating rainbow patterns that danced across the floor. Representatives from 30 different species sat in curved rows, all watching as Jake and Zara prepared to make history. Jake wore his best-dressed uniform from the Starbound, while Zara was dressed in flowing robes of silver and blue that seemed to shimmer with their own light. She looked like something from a fairy tale, but when she smiled at him, she was just Zara, the woman he loved. Elder Keth stood between them, holding a small device that glowed with soft purple light. "Jake Miller of Earth," he said in a voice that carried throughout the chamber. "Do you freely choose to bond your life force with Zara of Kalani?" "Do," Jake said, his voice strong and clear. "Zara of Kalani," Elder Keth continued, "do you freely choose to bond your life force with Jake Miller of Earth?" "I do," Zara said, her violet eyes never leaving Jake's face. Elder Keth activated the device. A warm, tingling sensation spread through Jake's body, starting at his heart and reaching out to his fingers and toes. He could feel something changing inside him. It's like new pathways opening in his mind. Suddenly, he could sense Zara's emotions as clearly as his own. Her joy felt like sunshine. Her love felt like coming home after a long journey. But he could also sense her nervousness, her hope, and her deep trust in him. "I can feel you," he whispered, amazed. "And I can feel you," she whispered back. "Your courage, your kindness, your love. It is even more beautiful than I imagined." The ceremony continued with traditional Kalani vows and human promises, but Jake barely heard the words. He was too busy marveling at the connection he now shared with Zara. It was not overwhelming like he had feared. Instead, it felt natural, finding a missing piece of himself. When Elder Keth pronounced them bonded for life, the chamber erupted in applause from dozens of different species. Jake and Zara kissed for the first time, and Jake felt her happiness multiply his own until they were both laughing with pure joy. Captain Rogers was the first to congratulate them. "Miller, you just made history. First human Kalani bonding ever recorded." Kate hugged them both, tears streaming down her face. "So happy for you both. And Jake, you look different already. Younger somehow." Dr. Amy Chen was fascinated by the biological changes. "Your cellular structure is already adapting," she told Jake later that day. "The bonding process is rewriting your genetic code too. Match Zara's longevity. You'll probably live for at least 300 years now." "What about children?" Jake asked. "Is it really possible?" "According to the Kalani medical data, yes. The bonding process makes your genetics compatible. Your children will be something entirely new, combining the best traits of both species." 6 months later, Jake and Zara stood in the command center of their new laboratory on Gateway Station. The council had given them funding to establish the first interspecies cooperation research facility, where teams of humans and Kalani would work together on projects that neither species could complete alone. "The environmental processors are working perfectly," Zara reported, checking her instruments. "The air quality is even better than we predicted." Jake smiled. They had designed the facility using both human engineering and Kalani biotechnology, creating something more efficient than either approach alone. The walls were lined with living plants that cleaned the air and provided oxygen, while human-designed machines handled water recycling and waste management. "How many applications have we received?" Jake asked. 47 from humans, 32 from Kalani, and surprisingly, 12 from other species who want to learn our methods. Pete Jackson had transferred to the facility as their communications specialist. "Jake, you're getting a call from Earth. Your parents want to congratulate you on the facility opening." Jake took the call in his office, with Zara sitting beside him. His parents appeared on the screen, looking proud but still slightly confused by their son's new life. "We're so proud of you, Jake," his mother said. "The whole world is talking about what you and Zara are accomplishing." "Thanks, Mom. How are things at home?" "Different," his father said. "Ever since news of your bonding spread, we've had 3 other alien species asked to establish cultural exchange programs on Earth. Seems like you started something big." After the call ended, Jake turned to Zara. "Do you ever miss your home world?" "Sometimes," she admitted. "But home is not a place anymore, Jake. Home is wherever you are." Jake felt the truth of her words through their bond. He missed Earth too, but their life together on Gateway Station felt right in ways he could never have imagined. "I have news," Zara said, her emotions suddenly bright with excitement. "What kind of news?" "Dr. Chen confirmed it this morning. We are going to have a baby." Jake felt like all the air had been sucked out of the room. "We're going to be parents?" "Yes, our child will be the first human colony hybrid ever born. They will grow up understanding both our cultures, able to bridge the gap between our peoples. Jake pulled Zara into his arms, feeling her joy amplify his own through their bond. "Are you scared?" "A little," she admitted, "but mostly excited. Our child will grow up in a galaxy where cooperation between species is normal. We'll never know the loneliness we felt before we found each other." 2 years later, Jake stood in the nursery of their quarters, holding his daughter Anna, while Zara slept nearby. Baby had Zara's violet eyes and Jake's brown hair, and she seemed to glow with a soft inner light that was purely Kalani. "Look at all those stars, Anna," Jake whispered, pointing out the window at the galaxy spread out before them. "Someday you'll help bring all those different peoples together. You're going to do amazing things." Anna gurgled and reached toward the stars with tiny fingers, as if she was already eager to explore the universe. Jake felt Zara wake up behind him, her contentment flowing through their bond like warm honey. "She is beautiful," Zara said softly, joining them at the window. "She's perfect," Jake agreed. "Just like her mother, just like her father," Zara countered. Leaning against his shoulder, Jake looked out at the ships coming and going from Gateway Station, carrying people from dozens of different worlds. Many of those ships now carried human colony teams working on joint projects. Their success had inspired other interspecies partnerships, and the galaxy was becoming more connected every day. "Do you ever regret it?" Jake asked. "Me?" Instead of a safer match, Zara smiled up at him. "Jake Miller, you were never the safe choice. You were the right choice. The only choice that could have made me truly happy." Jake kissed the top of her head, feeling grateful for the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. What had started as an impossible situation had become the greatest adventure of his life. Their daughter would grow up in a galaxy where love truly could conquer the vastness of space, where different species could become family, where the future held infinite possibilities for those brave enough to reach for them. Jake Miller had found his place in the universe. And it was right here, with his wife and daughter, building bridges between the stars.